Welcome to The Blue Dot, Northern Kentucky's premier political podcast, brought to you by the Kenton County Democratic Executive Committee. Welcome back to The Blue Dot podcast for our weekly roundup, where we bring you all the news you need to know in 10 minutes or less. Thanks so much for joining. I'm Natalie McDonald.
And I'm Brian Kale. Every week, a new adventure in the world of politics. And even though the absolute cruelty and incompetence of our current leadership is disturbing, I truly believe the trend lines continue to favor pro-democracy forces. Democrats just have to keep pushing back.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's good to have you back, Brian. You took a little hiatus this week.
Yeah, just a quick field trip to the Minneapolis area to see family. I was able to visit the memorial sites for Renee Nicole Good and Alex Preddy while I was there, and also march in a memorial demonstration for Alex on Saturday. I got to tell you, it was a sobering experience, yet also at the same time, very uplifting and inspiring. The Minnesotans are amazing people. And I came away even more resolute in my personal commitment to resisting our junior authoritarian and his regime.
Yeah, I bet that was pretty amazing. So like you said, sobering, but I'm glad that you were there to be a part of it and show solidarity. So it's great. Well, I wanted to start this roundup with a shameless plug for our Team Kenton 2026 kickoff, which will be happening next Friday. Yes, at the American Legion, post 203 in Covington at 6:30. And we'll be joined by Lieutenant Governor Jacqueline Coleman. And we really just kind of want folks to come out and learn how to get involved and connect with local community leaders and candidates. We're going to have food and a DJ, a cash bar. And if you ever wanted to be on the podcast, this is your chance.
Hey.
Right, Brian?
Right.
We'll be there on hand talking to people and recording some chats for the podcast. So it's one of those be there or be square. We'd love to see you all there.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be standing room only at our booth.
You bet.
Let's hope so.
Sure.
Well, I see there hasn't been much news report from the Kentucky legislature while I was out. The Republican-led General Assembly has yet to pass a single bill into law. So while the Dems are pushing bills to save Kentuckians money, Republicans just keep blocking them from reaching the House floor.
Yep. And we're starting to see the negative effects of last year's Republican-led Big Beautiful Bill, known as the Big Betrayal Bill. This bill's massive cuts to Medicaid and rural health have forced a Danville area hospital to close its birthing center this month.
I saw that. An award-winning unit at Fort Logan Hospital in Stanford, Kentucky, which is about 20 minutes south of Danville, closed on Monday evening, leaving expectant mothers scrambling to find care with limited options. It looks like patients will have to travel up to Danville, leading physicians to voice their concerns over safety. And expectant mothers have been protesting the closure for weeks, but that didn't lead to any changes.
Yeah, that's just incredible, especially for all those expectant mothers. But Tyler Childress, a country music star, got involved using his platform to bring awareness to the closure. And that is where he and his wife gave birth to their first child. And they're planning to have their second at this location. But unfortunately, this is just the tip of the iceberg. I think we've been warned about this, and now it's starting to happen.
That's right. We're seeing it now in real life. If listeners are interested in seeing more about how the Big Betrayal Bill will affect your county, you can visit bigbetrayalbill.com. Use the search tool to find your county and see a breakdown of how many people will be affected by the benefit cuts. For instance, Kenton County has nearly 38,000 residents who rely on Medicaid, and 13% of residents currently receive SNAP benefits. These are local Kentuckians who may be directly impacted by benefit cuts. And Kentuckians are not only getting hit on the healthcare front. I was stunned to find out that due to Trump's tariffs, Kentucky is among states that have the highest grocery costs in the country.
Yeah, and I was shocked as well. And this is really an interesting topic that I had not been aware of.
Right.
It turns out that, and this is incredible, it turns out that 90% of the states where grocery costs are the highest have Republican-led legislatures. 80% where states have the lowest costs have Democratic legislatures. So that's insane to me. And but this all came about in a new study released February 12th that shows residents in some of the nation's poorest states have the largest share of income spent on groceries. And this is because grocery affordability is determined by comparing food prices to that state's median household income.
Yeah, that was really shocking to see. And comparing income against the price of groceries so you can see what the true cost is really a good way of looking at it. And this study analyzed 26 common grocery items such as meat, dairy, fruits, vegetables, frozen foods, and cleaning products. And Kentucky ranks the fifth highest in grocery costs behind Mississippi, West Virginia, Arkansas, and Louisiana.
Yeah, and I think we can guess why, right? The main driver of grocery prices is labor and material costs for each product. And over the past year, material costs have driven up by tariffs, and labor costs have been driven up by deportation of workers,
Oh,
especially the low wage work that was done by some immigrants. So since wages for most Americans have not gone up as much as prices, purchasing power has declined.
yeah, purchasing power, exactly. There are also supply chain disruptions that aren't helping the situation, but instead of working on legislation to help take away some of the burden Kentuckians are feeling, Republicans did manage to advance Senate Bill 72, which allows healthcare employees and providers to refuse care to individuals based on religious grounds. Once again, doing everything they can to make people's lives more difficult instead of improving them.
Yeah, Brian, I worked in healthcare in some capacity for most of my life, and there's never been a reason why healthcare should be denied on personal grounds. I mean, it's absolutely unconstitutional and frankly disgusting. But this bill is also written very broadly. So it includes pharmacies, nursing homes, medical schools, social workers, and any medical provider. And I just want to be real clear about why this is happening. It's not because suddenly healthcare workers have been asked to provide care that is unethical or immoral. It's because Republicans want to keep gaslighting the public into believing it is a religious choice to refuse health care to a member of the LGBTQ community. And we know this is going to be their platform in 2026. We're already seeing that in the Massey and Gallery commercials. And moreover, I just want to point out that that Hippocratic oath that all medical professionals take does not have an asterisk. It's terrible.
That's right. Exactly. The list of protected services listed in the bill is equally broad, with SB 72 allowing providers to object to everything from testing and diagnostics to direct medical care to filling prescriptions to record keeping.
Yeah, the only kind of bright spot in this is it does require healthcare workers to provide emergency medical assistance as well as examination for tests and sexual assault survivors. And that's only because it is mandated under federal law. And a range of people from religious leaders to LGBTQ advocates to the ACLU of Kentucky and the Kentucky Psychological Association testified against the bill in committee on Wednesday of this week.
Yeah, a 2024 poll found 76% of Kentuckians, including people from across ideological lines, oppose legislation like SB 72 that would allow healthcare providers to deny service on religious or moral grounds. So it is beyond me why they keep pushing these hateful bills rather than focusing on how to help people.
No, it just further dividing the country and gaslighting marginalized individuals.
That's right.
But aside from all that happening in Kentucky, there have been a few crazy things happening at the national level. Of course,
Couple.
you know, they go fairly unnoticed because there's so much of the craziness every day.
Yeah.
But we do just keep slipping more and more into dangerous territory. This week, the Department of Homeland Security expanded its efforts to identify Americans who oppose immigration and custom enforcement by sending tech companies requests for the names and email addresses, telephone numbers, and other identifying data behind social media accounts that criticize the agency, which is just insane.
Yep. The next phase of the authoritarian crackdown on free speech. I'm not sure what DHS is going to be able to do, however, once it discovers that there are millions of accounts across social media that disagree with its policies. And when is the Trump regime going to realize that the harder it comes down on the people, the stronger and more passionate the resistance becomes?
Yeah, I mean, case in point, I'm sure you saw that CBS blocked Stephen Colbert from airing an interview with Texas State Representative James Tallarico
Yep.
and ordered Colbert to not mention the cancellation over fear of reprisal from FCC Chair Brendan Carr. Well, Colbert did not back down. He went on and talked about it anyway. And now that interview is just kind of all of this is just blown up.
Yeah, last I saw it had over 5 million views on YouTube, which was way more than it would have gotten had it just stayed on his regular late night slot.
Exactly.
Colbert went right out and said, however, despite CBS telling him not to, he said, quote, "He was supposed to be here, but we were told in no uncertain terms by our network's lawyers who called us directly that we could not have him on the broadcast.
Yeah, I never thought we'd see a day when the president of the United States used his power to control the media like this, especially a late night talk show host and their guests. It is just absolutely insane.
Yeah, the good news is independent media exists and is thriving, and outlets like the Blue Dot Pod will continue to keep our listeners informed and speak truth to power.
Yes, even if we only have 10 minutes to do it. And with that, we will conclude your Blue Dot Weekly Roundup, where the news is fast and the facts are free. Until next time, stay curious, keep the facts in focus, and never stop fighting for what matters. Peace out, everyone.